We're going to be building a hoop house today. I'm not sure exactly how far we're going to get, but we're going to get as far as we can. So I've been having a busy last couple of days, weddings and events going on with the kids. So I haven't got everything totally prepared, but we'll see how far we get. Maybe we get the whole thing up, at least up, and then we'll make alterations, as the weeks go on. So appreciate anybody that's going to be coming in today. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do, okay, you can kind of see I got my entire area kind of set out. And what I'm going to do is use some spray paint, and I'm gonna just start to mark the area that we're gonna use to build it up. Okay. So let me grab my spray paint. Okay. So we got the spray paint here, and I'm gonna be using this piece of wood to kind of mark exactly where we're gonna start putting the stakes down. Okay. So we're gonna put this about here. And we want this line as straight as possible. So the one thing about the hoop houses is they don't have to necessarily be perfect. The most important thing about the hoop houses is your foundation and what your plan is for keeping the plastic on the frame, right? That's the most important part. So if you are where I am, for example, it gets very windy. So from that standpoint, we got to make sure that everything is going to be nice and secure. So again, I got my spray paint here, give it a nice little shake, and then we just going to mark the area that we're going to use here, okay? I'm trying to get this as straight as possible. All right, so we got our spray paint here. Take this thing off. And we're going to get the marking. All right, so I know that this is the area that we're going to be working with on the front. So again, we're using this piece of wood as a marker to keep everything nice and in line. Okay, so if you're just coming on, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Please hit that thumbs up if you could. So right now what we're doing is we're just marking the area up with the spray paint. And so it shouldn't take us too long to really get everything moving. So again, we're gonna use this stick here to mark where we're gonna be putting the post down. Okay, kind of eyeball it. That looks pretty good. So now we're just gonna spray across. And so this area is gonna be about 7.5 by 18 about. So we'll see what it comes out to. Hey, come on, spray paint. There we go. So again, this is how we're gonna keep everything nice and in line. That way we know what we're working with as we start to put the post down. So again, hoop houses, it's not necessarily about perfection. It's about your structure and how secure everything is. Because if you are where I am, it gets very windy. And I can remember the first hoop house I built was nice and structured. The third one I built, it didn't do as well. So this time we gonna make sure we get everything nice and secure. So this is maybe my 6th or 7th one. So I kind of got the gist of what needs to be done at this point. Okay, so we taking this spray paint, marking our area. All right, so we got that side done. Now we need to mark up the opposite side. Okay, so we're gonna start with the back here. Well, actually, we'll start with this side. That way it'll make the back pretty easy to keep it even. So we got that there. Give it a nice little eye test here. So if you've grown a hoop house before, let me know what your process is. Appreciate you guys for coming in. Hello, Husky Yap, JR. Appreciate it. All right, so again, we got our marker here. And we're just getting those markings nice and laid out. Now, our vision for this is to have it for our tropical plants, but we're also going to be getting into feeding the community even more. So we're going to be planting every single week. We need to have also space to do that as well. Okay, so we want that good sunlight, not be sitting in the garage under grow lights. So that's fine if that's what you do. I've done it, but we want to try to get this thing ramped up a little bit more. That way people can come, see how things are growing, and we don't have to worry about them going in the house and whatnot. So all right, so now we're gonna do the back, and then we can start getting our posts in. We're gonna go from here to there. Come over a little bit. All right, so now we have our markings, all right? And I'm a little bit old school, so if I don't have a tape measure that's long enough to do measurements, I use my feet. When it comes to hoop houses, that's fine, okay? So I'm gonna use my feet to kind of measure out the distance, but also look what we have here. The ground is uneven, right? So you can see this is the part of our backyard that sinks in with water floods, right? So we got to work on getting that well draining and whatnot, but that'll be easy, okay? So now let's go ahead and get our first set of posts up. So we're gonna take this one, and we're gonna take this one. We're gonna put it right at the top here, in between the white stripes. So we're gonna go boom. And then we'll come to the opposite side and do that, just so everything is marked nice and evenly here. And then boom. Okay? So this is what we're working with here. Now you want to make sure that your posts are up and down as straight as possible. You can use either your eye to kind of test it out, or you can use one of these here, where one of the little T-balance things, and it'll let you know. Okay, so I'm not really concerned with that right now because these are easy to adjust, so I'm not worried about that. So what I'm gonna do now is measure with my feet, just to kind of get an idea of where we are lengthwise, because typically with your posts, you want them to be like 3 to 4 feet apart. Now, if you got a smaller hoop house you're going to be building, then maybe you can go 2 to 3 feet apart. But for this one, we're probably going to be about 4 feet apart. Okay. Hello. Auntie's World. So yeah, we just got our perimeter set out with spray paint. So you can kind of, I don't know what you guys can see, but there should be an outline of where we're gonna be putting the post in. We're thinking if this is gonna be about 7.5, 8 feet by about 18 to 20 feet. So we're gonna kind of get a approximate estimate. And you can see how the ground is uneven on both sides, but we'll bring all that together. Okay. So we just measuring things out now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we at about approximately 16 feet long. Okay. So knowing that, we can go about every 4 feet apart is what we gonna do here. Okay. That'll make it easy. That'll make it easier for measurement sake. So I'm gonna take a couple from here, and then we'll go 2, 3, 4, and then boom. Okay. Now when I put my post in, okay, I like to put mine in to where the two edges are facing towards the inside. Okay. So this is the way I like to set mine up. I know some people may be different. And what I found is if you flip it to where two sharp edges are to the image in the plastic, okay? I have my inside this way, okay? So let's go ahead and 2, 3, 4. I know this is a little old school, but hey, this is what I know to do. All right. Again, you want this up as straight as possible. Now we're gonna measure again. 2, 3, 4. Boom. Again. All right. So 2, 3, 4. Set a post here. Boom. And then we'll do one more back there. Again, making sure they are as straight as possible. And this is why I like doing it this way, because you can easily make adjustments, right? So we'll take one more and we'll put it here towards the end. Again, straight as possible. So now we're gonna come back to the front on the other side, measure out 4 feet on this side. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Inside the lines here. Boom. Straight as possible. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Boom. Right here. In between the lines. Try to make it as straight as possible. So we go again. 2, 3, 4. Right here. Boom. Straight as possible. And then we come to this last one here. I'll move that out the way. Boom. Now that one didn't go in straight, but we'll adjust it here. There we go. So now we've got our post up. You can already see this one is not as straight as possible, which is not a big deal at the moment. So that should be better. So if you're just coming in, hello, appreciate you for being here. So yeah, this is how I like to get it going. Now, The next step is going to be getting those PVC pipes in to making that actual hoop shape. Okay. Now I haven't quite figured out the height that I want, and with this middle part here, all kind of being uneven, we'll kind of figure it out. So I want it at least 7 feet tall. Okay, so that's the goal. I want to get it at least 7 feet tall. So let's go ahead and grab our first hoop. First sets of hoops here. And these are PVC pipes. You can get these pipes at Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, Ace Hardware. So that's why I get them from. Now, got to make sure I get these zip ties. So the zip ties are what we're going to use to set them up. Now, once you have them set, you can always go back in and screw them in if you don't feel comfortable with the way they're sitting. But that's up to you, okay? So we're gonna take this, okay? And then we're gonna take a zip tie, because if I don't do it, it's gonna be a little bit difficult to bend it. So we're gonna take this zip tie. We're not gonna secure it all the way tight yet, but just enough so it won't move too much, okay? So we got a zip tie there. We'll put one here, keep it nice and loose. That way we can slide it up if we need to. So we're gonna bring it here, okay? Now we're gonna take it, we're gonna slide it down. Actually, let me grab another zip tie from over here. Okay, so I can already see that this may not be, it may not give me the height that I want, okay? So let's go ahead, slide it over more, okay? And now we just gonna bend. Okay, you can see that hoop shape starting to form, okay? So I can already see, you see that? Even if I were to slide it up, it may not be the height that I want. So let me go ahead, pull here, and see if it gives me some height that I want. So this is a good thing about these PVC pipes too. You can make adjustments. And if I don't get the height I want, I have extras to where I can connect two of these together and see if I can get it that way. So let's go ahead and see what kind of height we get here this time. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I may want it a little bit taller, but if I'm standing down in there, I got more height. So this may be good. Okay. So all I want is about 7 feet. So I'm gonna take my zip tie. It's gonna be a little rough. Take my zip tie. We're gonna tie it down. If I can get a good grip here. Okay, so get a good grip in there. Okay. So now you can kind of see how it's gonna be all the way down. That's just kind of building a foundation here. And I think that's gonna be enough. So even if I have like small fruit trees, for example, I could I can plant them into the ground, or I could dig a deeper hole, and then they'll have enough room, to grow. So again, this is how we start to put things together. So now I'm gonna take another zip tie here to make sure that it's gonna be nice and secure. Okay, and we'll do the same thing on that other side, but I kind of want to see. Yeah, I think that's gonna be a nice height. So if I wanted to slide it up more, I could. Okay, so I think that's gonna be a good height. Now, if you were to have it more, I mean, way taller than this, let's say you want it to be, you know, 9, 10 feet high. Now you got to really focus on how you're gonna structure it. You can't just, you know, do it like I'm doing it, right? So you got to put more into it. Maybe have more sturdy metal and possibly even some wood, which we may throw in there and make some windows out of this. So this is how we're starting it out. Okay, so if you guys got any questions, let me know. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get another hoop going. Now, the reason why I also like hoops, okay? I'm sorry, I'm trying to find one here. These stakes, right? Each like every 6 inches or so, it's got this little hook. So you can see 1, 2, 3 here. Now that's what I do to measure out to make them even, right? So although some of the areas that they're staked in are uneven, if you need a marker to where you're putting this on something totally flat, you can use it. So on the left side here, okay, you can see that it comes down to the third hook. Okay, so the bottom of the PVC pipe is coming down to this third hook. On the one on the right, it's coming in between the second and the third hook, which is right here. So this is how I'm measuring out to make sure that they're gonna be even going all the way down. Okay, so again, if you guys got any questions, please hit that thumbs up. So now I know on this next one, since the ground is pretty even on both sides, I can see. Now I can take one and do the same thing going down, measuring the same distance on both sides. Okay. So again, we are going to take a couple of zip ties here. So I'm gonna take two, side it down where I can remember where it is. And then I'm gonna get it in the groove there. I'm gonna take one zip tie and look at where I have it on there. It's in between the first and the second one for the first one. And then I'm just gonna tie it down. Okay. And then I'm gonna get the second one here, put it down to the third one. Okay. And then we're gonna tie it down. And then we're gonna bend this over. And we're gonna put it in the hoop here. Now we know from memory that it's coming in between the second and the third one. Okay. And then you use your zip tie to get it down in there. So let me find a good grip here. Right. So again, it doesn't have to be totally perfect. I mean, it's a hoop house, so it may be a little bit uneven, but you can always go back and make adjustments. So I can already see this one is not where it's supposed to be, so I can slide it up a little bit. Okay. So now it should be a little bit more close to even. So we got two sets of hoops up. Okay. So you can kind of see it coming together. All right. So you guys got any questions? All right. Unwoke and unbrainwashed. I can see it. Hey, how you guys doing? Hello, everybody. You just coming in. So we're starting to get that hoop set up. Okay. You can see things starting to come together. All right, so now we're gonna get to that third section back there. Okay. So now we're gonna get the third one. We're gonna do the same thing all the way until we get down to the end here. Okay. So again, the height we wanted it to be is about 7 feet to 8 feet. That's fine. It'll allow us to grow the uh, different smaller banana variations. Also, if we have some of the taller ones over here, we can also, maybe make a little window or something at the top so we could grow out the top during the summer months, and then we could close the top and let the pups grow throughout the winter. So we really needed something to grow our tropical crops, because yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle. Okay. But we don't have any excuses, so we got to do what we got to do to get it up and going. All right, so then we know we want it at the third one here. Gonna wrap it around there. Make sure we got it in there nice and snug. So if you guys are out there, what are you gonna be doing in your garden today? Are you gonna be planting something? You gonna be doing some cleaning? Let me know in the comments. I'll come back and see what you guys have to say. So today I am going to be working on the garden app, and then I've got to plant more for our garden, because yeah, we got a lot to grow. So we are going to really get to work here. So now I'm gonna just come, since I'm gonna be on that side, and secure it up a little bit more. Okay, so we're gonna put a second one here. Put a second one on this one here. Now, again, if you're just coming in, we'll talk about the most important aspect to keeping this all together, okay? And that's gonna be, once we put the plastic over, you have to have some sort of way of keeping the plastic down, okay? Now, for me, I'm gonna start off with some cinder blocks, but if you have bags of sand, bags of soil, some people probably will use bags of concrete. Now, if you want to go that route, that's for something that's going to be more permanent, because once it rains or snows, that water hits it, it's going to all turn into pretty much like a brick. So if you go that route, just know that it can be, it's not necessarily the end of the world, but it would be more difficult to make adjustments if you were to go the bags of concrete route. Now we're gonna take this, walk it all the way over. All right, so we're gonna come second down here, in between the second and the third one. Wrap it up. Nice and snug here. Now, what you could do is use a vice grip or um, something that has a grip to help you out if you don't have the grip strength to hold this together while you're tying it up. So that's an option you can use too. You try it this way. All right, there we go. All right, again, so if you're just coming in, please hit that like button. Let me know what you'll be working on today. Are you planting something new? Are you cleaning to get ready to start gardening for the season? Let me know in the comments. All right, there we go. We got this one almost there. All right. So now we got that third hoop up. So again, what we're using is gardening stakes or fencing post stakes, and then you're using our PVC pipe. So all of the material that I have was about 140 bucks. Um, so this is a more affordable route for those of you that kind of want to, set things up yourself. It's not hard to do. Like I said, I've put together maybe 6 or 7 of these things, and so yeah, it's not that difficult to put together. Now, once we have them all up, what I'm going to do is I am going to slide this side on them up a little bit more so that they're more even, because you can see the left side is going down further than the right side, but we'll get all of that straightened out. I mean, we got to take things a step at a time, see how it's going to look, and then we can make the adjustments we want, okay? So now I can also see on the right side there, okay, the second one is not necessarily even per se, or it could be the angle that I'm taking, but again, it's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's a hoop house, and if you do it this way, you can always make adjustments. So, it's up to you. But so far, things are looking pretty good, though. Okay. Now, another thing too is the plastic. For this particular size that I have, I'm going to have to melt 2 pieces of plastic together in order to get the size we need to put over our hoops. Okay, so we'll get to that a little bit later. So if you're building one where it's not a custom size that you want, or that you have a custom size that you want to build, I'm sorry, and there isn't plastic that meets that criteria, if you're doing something a little bit bigger, you may have to get two sheets of plastic and melt them together. Okay, so I've seen people try to tape them together. That's not gonna last. You gotta melt them together, and that's how they're gonna stay. So let's go ahead and do the last 2, and then we'll move on to the plastic portion. Okay, so once you have this up, you're already pretty much halfway there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these last 2 hoops up back here. We're gonna get this next one in. We'll grab 2. We'll bring it down to the third one here, to the third hook, and then we're gonna tie it down. Bring that one up here, tie it down. Now we're gonna bring it over to the opposite side here. We'll grab 3 to make sure Got one up here, up top here. So we made some pretty good progress. So again, if you want to build one, I'm going slow on each step, right? So on each step, we've showed you, right? You can start by marking your area down. Then you can kind of stake, make sure you got your measurements right. For me, I like to measure with my feet, so, you know, a little bit more old school, I know, but hey, it is what it is. So, all right, let's go ahead and get this one down. Bring it halfway between the second and the third one. All right, get a nice grip on there. All right, I think that's about the quickest we got on this side. All right, so we're good to go there. Now we just got to do this last one in the back. So start this side. Make sure we're straight up and down in the back. So for anybody that's just coming in, thank you for popping in. Please hit that thumbs up. So if you need to see every step and go back, we're going step by step, nice and slow. All right, so we just need a couple of more ties, and then we'll start to work on connecting all of the hoops together, okay? And then we'll move on to the plastic portion, okay? Now, the middle part where we're gonna connect everything together is not something you necessarily have to do. If you have a hoop that's gonna be less than 8 feet, I would say, if you're working with something like 6 feet long, like, you know, 3x6, you don't have to do this, but it is good to do if you get a lot of snow. Like for us, we get a lot of snow, right? So I'm going to connect one straight down the middle to bring them all together. And then it's good to have like stakes on a couple of them that going down into the ground for extra support. But you don't necessarily have to do that on one this size per se, but we probably will do it anyway. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this on the cross. Bend, bring it down in between the 2 and the 3. All right, so we got them all up, okay? So I can already see that's gonna be pretty roomy. As much room as we gonna need anyway, or this is as much room as we got. So you can kind of see how things are going together. Now, we talked about this side here. So on the eye test, I can see that this needs to come over just a little bit. So now I'm gonna pull this up, and this is why it's good to have PVC pipes. And then I can see it will be more even at this point. So now I'm gonna stake it down, okay? Now we're more even. Same thing with this one. This one needs to go over just a little bit more. So I'm gonna pull it up here, slide it over and stake it down. Okay, and I could do the same thing going down. This one needs to go over just a little bit, maybe about there. Yep, stake it down. Now we're just making those adjustments. This one seems to be all right. Now this one, I may need to slide this one down just a little bit, just because there's a little hump right here. So I'm gonna take it and slide it down some. That way it's even with the other one. And now we're here. That one needs to go over a little bit more. So we're gonna pick it up and bring it over just a tad. There we go. So now we're good to go there. Now, here is where we can connect them all together. And then you'll also see too if something is uneven. But before we do that, I want to enable it to where there's going to be a place where they can stake into the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. So I have this. I think I got my tape measure somewhere in my pocket. Yep, I got that here. And so I know that this thing here is 10 feet long. I'm going to measure it out to 5 feet, which is here. And then I'm going to cut right there. And I'll show you why I'm cutting it in just a second. Okay. It'll just take me just a second to get this thing cut. So bear with me, but hey, this is a part of the process. You want it to be nice and secure, you gotta build it that way. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to come to my bag here, and I've got some T joints. Show you what that looks like. So you can see the T right here. So this is the T. I'm gonna put it right through there, and I'm gonna connect the other side. And you're probably asking, well, why am I doing that? Okay, the reason why I'm doing that is when I connect them, if I need some additional support, all I have to do is stick some sort of a pole or something in there, and it'll be able to hold it up, right? Because we're going to join it all together. Now, if you're somewhere where it snows, it may be best to go ahead and do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this, the one we just did, in half. I'm going to cut the halves in half, okay? Because I want support all the way, going all the way down if I need to. Like if I know some heavy snow is gonna come, and I'll show you once we get it together. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this, and then I'm gonna go 2.5. Okay, I'm gonna go 2.5 and then cut that in half. Okay, so here we go. Halfway is right there. I'm gonna take my saw here. We're gonna cut it all the way through. All right, so now I'm gonna take the T and I'm gonna connect. And all this will all make sense in just a second. Just stick with me. Okay. So now I'm gonna take this, the first one we cut in half, and cut another half on it, and we gonna put it all together. It's gonna make sense. Just stick with me. So we gonna go 2.5 on this one, which is there. All right, so I need another T. So I got one here. Set a couple of them out. Now I'm gonna take the first ones we put together, and I'm gonna put that T in there. Okay. Now we're gonna take one of these, put it there. We're gonna take another T here. All right. And then we're gonna take this one. Boom. Take another T, because I know we need a couple more. And you'll see how it all comes together in just a second here. So now I'm gonna take a couple zip ties. Okay. Now I don't necessarily need a T up for the front part. So here's what we gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and put one of the zip ties up. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and do that same thing over here. Well, I think I'm gonna have to get my boots wet. Do the same thing here. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start at the front here, and then I'm gonna slide it all the way down. Sorry about that. So again, if you don't understand what I'm doing, it'll click to you in just a second. Second. May have to take that one off for 1 second here. Uh-oh. Take this one off for a second. This one slid off. There we go. So again, these are PVC pipes. So if you want to do your own homemade one, like we're doing here, PVC pipes, you can get them from Home Depot, Lowe's. you know, those types of places. So take this one. Slide this one down. Makes it a little more difficult when you're dealing with these tees, but it's all right. So again, all of this will make sense in just a second. Just be patient with me here for while we're doing this. All right. So now I can zip this one up a little tighter. Right. Come back here and zip it a little bit tighter. And then I can adjust that T. All right. So now, if I wanted to support this entire structure more, let's say I know some snow is coming, or I just want it to be secure, then you can get you some sort of pole here, you know, every however many feet, and then you've got a structure down at the bottom that can hold everything together if it decides it wants to snow or something like that. Okay, so that's the reason why we're doing this. So we're gonna put this all the way down. I'm gonna grab this one here. I'm gonna put it here just so it won't slide off. Okay. So let's go ahead and put those remaining ones on. Go. So you can see we're working in some messy conditions. It actually rained all night. Yes, all night. I'm going into the morning, so that's why I'm kind of sliding all over the place. All right, so now get a little support here. Put another zip tie on. All right. And now we can put the other tee on. Zip it up a little bit more. Okay. And so we almost got this particular part set all the way up. And then we just got to go in and zip it all tight. So I'm just making sure I don't have any questions. All right, so if you just coming in, I appreciate you for hanging out with me. So basically, and I know it's uneven going down the middle now, we are setting up to where we can have structure going all the way down. So if I want to put some posts in the middle, let's say I know it's snowing, the snow is gonna come. If it snows a lot, the snow is not gonna sit on top and kind of bend it down if it's heavy snow. But I would come out anyway and keep the snow off, but I'm just letting you know what we're doing. Like if I was on vacation or gone or something, we want to make sure everything stays in line, okay? So we're almost done putting these all the way down to the end here. Okay, so I just got to get one more PVC pipe, which we're not going to use the whole thing, and finish it, finish the middle going down, and then we can start working on the plastic piece. Okay, so again, in a situation where you would need support, I'm gonna see if I can set it up to where you can see what I mean. So if I put that there, and I put this here, for example, you know, you put your little stick through there, and it'll hold this whole structure up. Okay, so that's the whole gist of this. All right, so I'm getting another PVC pipe from here, and we can start to kind of wrap this up, okay? So, again, we know that this is 10 feet long, and we need it cut in half, and then we'll do another half. But because we only had maybe another 6 feet going down that way, I don't necessarily have to cut them in half, but I'll do that just for consistency's sake, and whatever the end is going to be, we'll go ahead and measure that part out. Okay, so I got my tape measure, slide this down, bring it down to 5 feet. Back down here. We do it this way. All right, so 5 feet is about here. Just good. Take my finger here. All right, now we're gonna go 2.5 here. Two and a half is there. Grab another T. The extra one here. That thing goes down pretty far, so try to stay up above. All right. So now we're gonna put that one there. We need another zip tie for it. All right. And so we're probably gonna need, yeah, another two, and that last one might be it. May be all we need. Let's see. So we're gonna put a T on the end of that one, and yeah, that'll be it. That turned out perfect actually. So we got a T and we need another zip tie. We got this thing up. All right, so now we could go ahead and rotate the T's down and then tie them up tighter at the top. So I gotta make sure this one is even here. Okay. Turn that one down. Okay. That one's down, that one's good. That one's good. We gotta zip tie this one tighter. So again, even if we wanted to add like an irrigation system to this, you can sink your hose up to this. This is 3/4. Stick it in there, and water will come out as well. So there's so many different things you can do with these T-posts and the pipes that we're using. So it's multi-use. It's not just one particular thing you can do with it. So I gotta rotate this one down. Turn that one there. Sure that one's turned. Turn it a little bit more. All right, that's decent. That's all right. We ain't gotta spend too much time on that. No more time on that. So now we gotta get the plastic ready. So again, if you're just coming in, I appreciate you. Looks good so far. Thank you, Milana Roberts. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, we've been putting in a little bit of work here. So looks down at the bottom. I might have to. Yeah, I mean it looks all right. It'll be fine. Turn this a little bit. All right, so now the challenging part is gonna be the plastic only because this is a custom size, right? So this size is gonna be about 8 by 18 feet, somewhere in that ballpark. I couldn't find any plastic that would meet that dimension per se, especially when you factor in the height. So what we're having to do is we're gonna have to melt 2 different pieces of plastic together. Okay, sorry if you can't see me. We gotta melt in 2 pieces of plastic together, and that's what we're gonna work on now. Before we do that, I'm gonna just move some of these cinder blocks out of the way because we're gonna need them for that side. Okay. Now, as I kind of stated earlier, the most important aspect is knowing what you're gonna do to hold the plastic down. So I know a lot of people like to use the I can't think of the name of them, like the the little clips to hold the plastic down. In my experience, if you're somewhere windy like I am, that's not gonna work long term. Okay, so you have to have something more with more strength, more durability, and for this particular strategy, I'm gonna use. It's gonna be with cinder blocks, and ultimately the goal is going to be having it to where it's mulched around, going up about halfway. That way, when it's during the colder months, it's going to keep it insulated. It's going to keep the heat in the inside. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on this plastic. This plastic is going to be a task. So let me go ahead and make sure I got the phone here. Move this thing out. I'm using this as my all right, so we'll bring this here so you can see what I'm doing. One second. So you can see this long piece of plastic here. It's actually two pieces of plastic that are about 10 by 50 feet long. And yeah, we got to melt them together. It shouldn't take too long to melt them together. But yeah, that's the task. So give me a second to stake this thing down so we can record here. Actually, let me just get this tripod. Hopefully it'll work. But yeah, we just getting the plastic together again. Couldn't find one that had the width that we needed. So we got to improvise and do it ourselves without using tape. Again, I know a lot of people like to use tape, but that's not going to last long. So let's go ahead and get this tripod up. Okay. Sure I got it on there good. So this is the two pieces of, and this gonna be a kind of a trail run for me. So got two pieces of plastic here. So I'm gonna open up the edge on this one. So you got the wind blowing here. I'm gonna start to open this other side up too. And so you can see, we're gonna have to melt them together as evenly as we can, okay? And we're gonna use a heat gun to melt them together. But yeah, this is gonna be pretty interesting. But this is what has to be done. I want you guys to see everything when you're dealing with a custom size. Now, I'm not gonna open them both up entirely yet because I don't want the wind to take them and blow them off. So I'm gonna just do a little bit at a time. So I'm gonna use this to keep it together right there. We're gonna get the heat gun. We're gonna start to melt it together. Let me slide this underneath. All right, so here's our heat gun. So again, unfortunately, when you're dealing with custom sizes, you got to kind of do things yourself. So we got to melt them together. So I'm gonna make sure they're even here. And then we're gonna melt them together. So I can see that they're starting to kind of come together here. I'm gonna turn it down soon. All right, so you can see that two pieces are coming together. Okay, so now I just got to do that all the way down. Okay, so yeah, it shouldn't take too long. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. Nice little trial run there. So it's time to get it together. All right, so we have these set the way we need them. Pull that up some. All right, make sure they're straight. So let's go ahead and get it done. So if you're just joining in, what we're doing is using a heat gun to bring two pieces of plastic together. All right, so if you want to know if it's working or not, you can pick it up, kind of see where you are. So even once we have the plastic on the actual greenhouse, we may have to still do a little bit with the heat gun, but we'll see how it turns out though. All right, so we can see it melting on there. That's good. So you got to be very careful with this so you don't put no holes in them as well. So be careful and have some patience with it. Make sure it should straighten out there. Making some pretty good progress now. Again, if you're just coming in, what we're doing is melting two pieces of plastic together. That way we have the length we need, I'm sorry, the width we need to cover the entire greenhouse. Yep. See, that one has been cooled off and it's stuck together pretty good. So, yep, we're off to a great start. Let's go ahead and open these parts up here. Fairly straight. Now, the good thing about plastic is if, like over here, I can see a hole. Maybe there's a nail or something. You can always get another piece of plastic, put it over there and melt it on top. So if there's any holes that pop up, I'm not concerned with that at all. right, so if you're just joining us, we appreciate you. What we're doing is melting two pieces of plastic together to kind of give us the size we need to cover up the hoop. Unfortunately, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and so we're using a heat gun to melt two different pieces of plastic sheets together. Okay, so that's what we're doing right now. After that, we'll start to work the plastic over the hoop, and then we'll do a little bit more talking in. But I'm just not sure if you guys can hear me or not. So if you're just coming in, we appreciate you. Please hit that thumbs up. Ask me any question you want. We'll get to that in just a bit. So we're more than halfway through this. So we got maybe another, I'm not even going to put a time with it because we're starting to move a little bit quicker. Maybe another 10 minutes or so. May not even be that long. So again, in these situations, you know, you typically can find the plastic sizes that you want in the store at Walmart or whatever. But in this particular case, since we're doing the big one, I'm able to find the length, right, but not the width that I want. So this is why I'm putting two different pieces of plastic together. Okay, so in the chat, what you guys have planned for your garden today? It's a very nice day out, at least where I am. Maybe 50 degrees or so. So we're just getting things put together so we can have our tropical section in our garden. Also be able to grow for different markets. Also being able to grow for the community. So in the warmer months, we have people come by and get the food they need. It's optional to donate if you want, but we got to do our part in this. So that's what we're doing here. Now, for the rest of the day, I gotta plant more seedlings for the garden. I also gotta get to work on that app I told you guys about a couple of days ago. So for those of you that don't know, we have an app coming out within less than 2 weeks now. We're gonna start it off in a beta mode, let you guys kind of play around with it, so you can let us know what we need to fix or whatever. But the app is gonna be free. The app itself is gonna be free, so it's not like it's a cost or anything. And I can't tell you exactly how it's gonna be yet because we don't want. I mean, eventually, yeah, somebody probably will have the same idea or whatever, but we at least want to be able to launch it before other people start to take the idea. So that's kind of where we are with that right now. So in the comments, let me know what you guys got going on. What grow zone you're in, where you're watching from. If you guys are still watching, I don't even know if anybody's on there right now, but we're almost done melting these sheets of plastic together. So we're gonna be putting it on the hoop. So again, we appreciate you for coming in. Please hit that like button if you guys can hear me. So we're almost through with this part. So you can see up until where I am now how the two sheets are starting to come together. Now the most important parts are maybe about a quarter of the way through, all the way up to the middle, which was back there. Those are the most important parts. The edges not so much because they're going to be at the bottom and even on the ground. And so I'll explain that more in just a bit here. So you can see one of our garden cats here that keeps the critters out of the garden. They actually scared some of them, I'm assuming, into some of these greenhouses. So we'll be getting another cat probably this year too. So we got 2 now. We'll probably have a total of 4. We got to keep things going, man. We can't let these critters take over. So let me know what you guys do in the comments to kind of get rid of the pests that you have. What kind of pests have you been dealing with over the years? If you're new, I would recommend kind of paying attention to what people are saying in the comments. But whatever you guys are typing, I'll read them and I'll talk to you in just a bit here. So we're almost there. Now, typically, if we had the plastic size that we need, we would have been done with this a while ago. But unfortunately, when you're working with bigger custom sizes, you know, you got to do what you got to do, right? So now again, one of the best parts about this is if something ever happens again to where there's a hole or something, you can always get a piece of plastic and melt it right on there. So if there's anything on the top, like I can see, maybe there was a nail or something over there where there's a hole, then all I got to do is take a piece of plastic, melt it on there, and we're good to go. So that's one of the good things about this. Now, at some point, yes, we'll have to replace this whole thing. Maybe for the next round, I won't have to do this, but we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. We'll see how long this one lasts. So the next sheet, yeah, we'll probably maybe be able to find one the size we need. So interested to see what the future holds. But right now, we just gonna be in the moment. So we almost there, almost to the end here. So I appreciate you guys for spending your Sunday afternoon with me. I know everybody's busy and got stuff to do, so yeah, this year, like I said, we'll be going live a lot more. A lot of times, you know, some of you want to know exactly what it is we're doing. So that's what we're doing. We're showing you what we do and not just showing you the final product. We're actually showing you the work that it takes to maintain, you know, some of these different obstacles and projects that we're doing and things we're building. So right, so last couple minutes here, and we'll get to put our plastic on the hoop. So get the last little bit done. So we got the pieces of plastic melted together. And it's time to get it on the frame. So anybody that's watching, again, appreciate you for being here. So what we've done so far is we got the hoop up, so you can see, we turn it this way. We've got the hoop up, and because this is a custom size, we've had to melt two pieces of plastic together. Now we're gonna put the plastic on the hoop. So that's what the next step is gonna be. So I'm going to actually fold it a bit, and then we're gonna slide it over there. So let me get it prepared, and then we'll go ahead and get it on there. So I'm gonna start on this end, because where we melt it is gonna be the inside. Okay, so where we melt is gonna be the inside. And again, if you're dealing with a smaller hoop and you can get pieces of plastic that can go around your hoop and you got extra, you don't have to worry about doing this. I'm having to do this because it's a custom size. Okay, so hello everyone. Prep Prosper Property Solutions, hello to you. So yeah, we're gonna get this big sheet prepared. Shouldn't take much longer, and then we're gonna put it on the hoop here. So go ahead and yeah, I'm gonna fold it to the inside this way. Fold it that way. Fold it again. All right, so let me get the camera straight. You guys will be able to see me slide it that way over towards the hoop. So let me straighten this out more. Again, this is a lot of plastic, so the customized size that we just did is now 20 by 50. And so we're putting that 20 by 50 on a hoop house that's about 7 feet high, maybe about 7 to 8 feet wide, and then about 18 long. So we should have enough extra. Now we have to consider the reason why we have that 50 feet on here is because we got to consider the length of the hoop, right? The length is 18 feet, but coming down on the front and the back, you got that extra 14 feet, okay? So this is gonna give us wiggle room to be able to do things if things don't go to par, right? So I'm gonna take this in half. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just slide it over. Slide this in over. Break that off. Gotta bring these cinder blocks over here. Now they're in the way, but we'll be using them in just a bit. you got thorns all over here. So we definitely gonna have to do some patching up, I'm sure. All right, so you can see it's starting to come together a bit. Got a little bit more work to do here. Okay, so basically here's what we're trying to do at this point. So what we're trying to do is the middle part that we melted together to bring the two sides together, all we're doing is getting those at the center. Once we have them at the center in the line, then what I'm gonna do is take my cinder blocks and set them down, okay? That way if the wind blows, guess what? Everything's gonna stay together. Again, you can use sandbags, you can use gravel, you can dig some natural dirt you have to hold them down on both sides. Again, you're gonna need a lot if you use dirt, but again, the fact that we're using cinder blocks doesn't matter because it's all gonna be covered in mulch anyway. So next winter, the mulch is gonna be about probably this high. That way we can keep it nice and insulated without having to use heat, okay? So that's what our goal is. right, now we can start to use our cinder blocks, right? You see, we kind of got it on there to a certain extent. Now we're gonna start to put that cinder block on there. And then once we have the center blocks on this side, we'll be able to straighten it out on that side, and you'll see how it's going to be tighter than it looks now. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna work our way to the other side to starting to tighten it down a bit, okay? So it'll start to look a little bit better than this. Not sure if I'm in frame or not, but let's go ahead and get it. All right, so we have the plastic on there. Obviously, we're gonna have to work on tightening it down more, but you can kind of see the concept. Now, one of the reasons too why we made the plastic as big as it is because we are going to use the front of the greenhouse or the hoop house as a door. So basically, maybe eventually I'll frame it out with some wood or whatever. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slit straight down the front. Okay, that way you have a way to get in and out. And then again, as the days go on, we're gonna add some mulch around it. That way that it's nice and insulated. Okay, so yeah, this is what we got, man. We got the hoop together. Like I said, we gotta tighten things up a bit, but this is part one. We'll do a part two that's gonna be shorter than this, and we'll show you what we do to kind of bring everything together more. Again, we're gonna mulch it good. We're going to put some support in the inside of it. That way you can see what I mean when I was talking about the support beams that we kind of created. And so, yeah, we'll slit this thing down, show you how I can walk in for now. Maybe I'll put a zipper or something on it so I can open and close to get in there. But let me see if you guys have any questions or comments. Hello, all. Hello, everybody. Hello. So yeah, we've had a pretty nice, I would say a pretty nice day putting this thing at least up. It's up, but yeah, we gotta make sure we can get in and out. We gotta put some more brick in the front and in the back to make it tighter and bring it all together. So I guess we can do that. We can put some cinder blocks in the front, some in the back. We'll slit down the middle, and then we'll wrap this video up after doing that, and then we'll do more videos showing you what we do to kind of continue to get this thing going. All right, so let's go ahead and finish things up. So anybody that's been watching, I appreciate you. I know it's been, what has it been, an hour and 36 minutes? That's shorter than I thought it was, but yeah, we're almost there, at least having it up, you know. Now putting everything together, it's obviously gonna take some more time, but let me get this thing set up here so you guys can see whatever we're doing here. I'm trying to get this post in here. Maybe put it over here so you guys can see. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead and work on the front here. Slide that in there. Move all this extra stuff out of the way. But yeah, hopefully you guys can see that it's not that hard to do. The issue that we had was the custom size that we wanted. This is unfortunately what we had to do to kind of get things to where we need them. But yeah, let's go ahead and bring this thing together a little bit more. So let me get a couple of cinder blocks here. I'm coming, I'm coming. All right, let's see. Spray this color out here. And again, you don't have to use cinder blocks. I'm using what I have. Again, you can use bags of dirt. You can use your native soil digging and putting it on top. But where I am, it gets pretty windy. And so because of that, we want to make sure that things are going to be nice and secure. Okay, so come to this other side here. Bring it straight down. The front. Push that in there. And make sure it's all nice and sealed up in there. But get some of that extra in there. And then once I go in the inside, I'll be able to melt that together with that heat gun that we use. So now I'm gonna move this over and tighten it up. So you can see, you just gotta work it until you get it the way you want it. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna use that heat gun, melt that all together. You can see that it had hit a thorn on that side when I was dragging it over. So I'm gonna slide that over a little bit more. There we go. Again, so you can kind of see how you gotta just kind of keep working it till you get it the way that you want it, okay? So then, yeah, we'll slit it down here, have your nice little walkway, but again, I'm gonna still work on straightening this whole thing out, but you guys kind of get the idea of it, right? I still have to pull the back end back. When we do that, that's gonna straighten things. It's gonna give it a tighter look, okay? So I'm gonna do that for a second, and then again, over the next couple of days, I'm gonna just keep working everything out until we get it the way that we want it. All right, so not done with the project, but we're done for the day. So I think we done enough for the day. Like I said, we gonna continue to work this out over the next couple of days, and typically it don't take that long. Like I said, if you're working with something like 4x8, 3x6, even 5x10, it doesn't take that long. But because we're working with something that's, you know, about 18 feet long and about 8 feet wide, it takes a little bit more time, especially if you're doing it by yourself like I am. Okay, so what will I be growing? Hello all. So in here we're going to be growing a lot of tropical produce, you know, lemon, lime, grapefruit, you know, all of those citrus types of little fruit trees. Well, we're gonna let them grow to a certain size. We'll have different, like the smaller banana varieties. We'll have things like kiwi, grapes. We're definitely gonna have grapes in here because what tends to happen where I am is we get a lot of Japanese beetles, and as soon as you start to see your grapevines growing, you get the nice leaves on them. Right before they start to push out grapes, the Japanese beetles kind of eat them to shreds. So yeah, looks sturdy. Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, it's sturdy, but I'll be working on it though. I'll be working on bringing everything together. But yeah, we did a lot today with this all of this mud and rain that we had though. So Milana Roberts, what are you growing this year? What Okay, nice. I have 6 avocado plants beginning to start. Oh, really? So where are you at? What grow zone are you in? Avocado. So that's one I've never grown. So I've had mangoes before. Um, I've not done a avocado yet. What grow zone are you in? You just let them just set out and grow all year long? How do you do it? Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and slit a nice little line down, and I'll come back and holler at you in a second here. Now, yeah, those avocados, we actually eat a lot of those. Um, now you can see how I can get in and out for now, but you are in New York 5B. Oh, really? Oh, you in the same grow zone we're in. So 5B, yeah. Um, so what do you do during the winter months? You bring it in. Do you grow it on a patio, or I'm utilizing the artificial indoor? Oh well, yeah. So have you got any fruit on it growing them indoors like that? And at some point, do you like set them by a window so they can get that sunlight, or how do you normally do it? All right, so if you're just coming in, we appreciate it if you hit the like button. So we've we've covered a lot today. Um, there's some patching up. Obviously, we don't need to do with this, but yeah, this thing is we're almost there. We got a ways to go. No and no, only my journey. Oh yeah, well yeah, I definitely can see that. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys a different angle so you can see um, how it kind of looks now. Again, well, hoop houses don't have to be perfect. This one definitely isn't gonna be by the time we get done with it. but I'm gonna give you guys a different angle so you can at least see how it looks now. I'm gonna go to this other side where the sun is shining more. So this is kind of how it looks now. Again, it is a lot bigger than what it probably looks. It's 8 by about 18. You can see that little dip up in there. We gotta straighten that out. But again, I mean, I'm pretty satisfied so far. See right in there, I gotta straighten that out. It's a little loose in there, so I'll probably have to pull down on this side more. But I mean, yeah, you see it's gonna have some nice light in there. We're gonna mulch it up real high around the edges. And yeah, we're gonna get the growing up in here. Lemons, limes, grapefruit, all sorts of things. This is definitely the biggest one I've put together, but yeah, we still got a little ways to go, but I'm happy with it so far. So anybody else, got any questions for me? I know we've been putting in some work for a while, so I'm gonna sit back and holler at you guys for a little second here. Turn it this way more so you guys can see it if you're coming in. There we go. So you say really nice. Are you putting any flower bulbs in? Yeah, we'll have some flowers in the inside and the outside. I really like to bring, pollinators around for, all the different produce we grow. We grow like watermelon and the cucumbers that really need that pollination. I'm not too much really into that self-pollination where you get a Q-tip or something and you go to the male flower and then go to the female. I'm not really into that, but yeah, I'm gonna have some flowers. I haven't thought about what variety I'm gonna grow over here yet. I know on this side here we usually do sunflower, but I think we're gonna rotate the sunflower into another spot. Not necessarily sure yet, but we'll see. So what kind of flowers are you growing this year? Yeah, I think some of my favorites to have in the garden to kind of eliminate the pests that we have are the marigolds. Those do pretty good at keeping the pest pressure down a little bit. But last year we had a flux of the little cabbage moths, so they came and wreaked havoc on a lot of the cabbage, a lot of the collards, and that's one of the main reasons why I grow those earlier in the season, so I don't have to typically, worry about it. But because we've been growing for other people, we've had to kind of extend our growing season for the collards and the cabbages and things like that. So yeah, but yeah, this is what we got so far. Yeah, I gotta pull that corner down a little bit in the front, but yeah, I'm gonna let it dry out a little bit in there, and then clean it up in there real good, and we gonna get things moving in there. So anybody got any questions for it? It doesn't matter what the question is. It doesn't have to be gardening related. Any questions you guys got? I still got a little bit of time, so any questions you got? Um, yeah, have you guys started growing yet? For me, I like to get going early, like I said, because there are certain things that I don't want to deal with as far as pest pressure. So even in the snow, you'll see me put some collard plants out here, some cabbages. They can take some cold weather. Typically, I get the collards cabbages and things like that out in March, even though I'm in Grow Zone 5B. Um, before the pest pressure really takes place, we're under 10 degrees or something like that. If we're talking about seedlings, yeah, I may have to cover them up with plastic or something, but I like to get my growing season going early. So again, if you're just coming in, appreciate you for being here. Please hit that like button. Greatly would appreciate it. So this is what we've got so far. You got to see the process of how I like to kind of get things going. Again, not completely done with this thing yet, but you can see that we've got a nice little start going here. Okay. So again, any questions? The last few years I've been having a good time growing pole beans. Oh yeah. Yeah. The last couple of years, the beans I've been growing a little bit early. Like last year, I want to say I started planting those in March, but I started them in a greenhouse and let them grow. I think by May, we were eating beans. I didn't grow as many as I needed to last year. So this year, I'm going to get a couple of rounds in. I'm actually going to start growing some in March again this year. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what we get this year. I'm going to also be canning some of those beans as well because we plan on growing a lot this year. Peppers, I'm going to start planting peppers today. Tomatoes, I got to get planted today. Even in March, I get my tomatoes outside, the ones that I'm not growing in the greenhouse over there. Um, but yeah, it's that time to get things moving. I'm not gonna say that I never buy any self-starting seedlings from, let's say, Menards or something like that, but it's not an often thing. So if I go to Menards, and I go there a couple of times a week. If I go to Menards and I see like a tray of, 6 okras or something, like a variety I'm not growing, I'll grab some. I don't have any problem grabbing them, and I'll plant them and feed them good, and they'll get to moving just like the rest of the plants that we have. So I'm not opposed to doing that as well sometimes. But for me, it's all about that process, the process of starting them from the little seeds and watching them grow. Like mustards, for example. Mustards are one that I should have been planted, but they grow so fast. I'm not really worried about it. As long as I get mustards out here by, uh, I'll say by the beginning of April, that's fine. But I want to get them out here before it starts to get too hot too quickly. So typically I'll start putting mustards out at the end of February, beginning of March. Okra flowers are pretty and great pollinators. Yeah, I've always noticed, at least where I am now, not so much where I've lived before, but I've noticed with my okras, I always see a lot of ants on them. So ants could be good pollinators too. So if you see ants in the garden, don't rule them out. They're putting in a lot of work too, especially around those okra plants that you may have. I want to grow some of those red okras this year. Let me see. I know typically every year I do the watermelon. We usually do the sugar baby. Sometimes we'll do the Charleston Grays. Sometimes we'll do Jubilees or Icebox. But yeah, sugar babies have been one of the main watermelons we've been growing the last several years. Um, there's another variety that we grow a lot too. I can't think of the name of it right now, but yeah. So do you have pretty good success growing watermelon where you are? I think you said you were in New York, 5B. I don't know why I thought New York was a. Are you at the Black Diamond? Okay, yeah, yeah, those are good too. So Yeah, it's always weird to see places like New Jersey have grow zones like 7B and some of those warmer grow zones. So I guess I was a little shocked to see that you're in 5B. Maybe you're more so at the top of New York. But yeah, like I said in some of the other videos, 7B was kind of where I really got started and really started learning more about gardening. So upstate Carol, yeah, I figured you were further up north. So are you near man, I had a coworker that lived Syracuse. Is that near Syracuse? Cairo? All right, so if you're just coming in, we went through a process of getting this thing up and going. Again, we're not completely done, but most of the work is done. We just gotta tighten things up a bit, and we're gonna be getting our citrus and tropical plants in there. Gotta clean up a little bit in there, but you can see around the edges we have cinder blocks, and what that's going to do is keep the plastic on there no matter how hard the wind blows. So that's one of the benefits to um, these hoop houses is, hey, they're cheap to get up. You can make them as big as you want. No, that's 300 miles. No, I'm actually in Indianapolis, so I'm uh I'm in the Midwest. So yeah, we've had a brutal winter. We had a couple of weeks where, man, we were. I mean, some of the days I don't think we even got to zero during the day, but we went through like a 3 4 week spell to where it was negative at night for many weeks in a row. Now I've been seeing people talk about their energy bills. They're not happy with that. So man, that's what happens. Even if you're not using it, even if you're not at home and you turn everything off, do you grow potatoes? Yup. I'm gonna be growing some yellow potatoes. I'll probably plant those in next month in March. So I'll probably be planting them right here. They usually grow pretty good right in this area here. So I'm gonna take I got a auger. I'm gonna drill down, put a couple of seed potatoes down, and yeah, by May we should have some potatoes. Okay. All right. So I appreciate you, Milana Roberts, and everybody else that has been here watching. You know, I got a family of six, so I got to get in here, see what these children are doing, clean some of this stuff up in case it rains tonight. So I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me for the last couple of hours, and I'm out.